Hi guys, Blake here today with Lilleys Landing Resort and Marina on Upper Lake Taneycomo. It is Sunday, August the 8th, and I'm going to do a little one cast for you tonight here. Oh, so it's about 7:45 in the evening. Nope, 7:30. 7:30 in the evening. Still a little warm out here, honestly. I've boated up. I'm just about 100 yards above Trout Hollow Lodge. I'm sitting over here on the north bank where this big log jam is and this eddy begins. I haven't fished this area in quite a while. They were running 4 units an hour ago. They've cut it back to 2, and then here in about 30 minutes they're going to shut it off again for the night. So the water's dropping and slowing down, and I am going to try to see if I can find fish on a jig tonight. So I got a sculpin and ginger jig with a sculpin head on 2-pound line. And I'm actually just going to stay spot locked right here for a second. I'm going to fish kind of at an upwards angle and kind of let this flow through the eddy. See if I can pick a fish up out of there. Fishing reports from most of the guides I talked to today were a little bit better. Captain Tracy Frenzel reported that the bite was a lot better this morning for him than it was yesterday morning. Seen a few few decent fish get caught off the dock in the last couple days. Those big fish that sit behind the dock and eat all the time, whenever the water stays off for long enough, they tend to roam around, and I think that's when it's a little bit easier to catch one of those fish off the front of the dock when they're out exploring. Most of the reports that I've heard over the last few days have been that Monkey Island seems to be a hot spot. Nothing officially on the first cast. I know that was a few casts ago, but jig bite has definitely not been the hottest the last couple weeks, but I still keep trying in anticipation of when it returns. Go ahead and drift down a little farther into this eddy. What was that? They're still catching them on the midges, on the micro jigs under a float, when the water's off in the mornings, in the trophy area and out of the trophy area, I think. Captain Pete Leonard told me, and fish on by the way, Captain Pete Leonard told me that the micro jig outside of the trophy area today was the way to go. It's a decent little stalker, real pretty. Come here. Okay, yeah, you fish. If you're gonna be out fishing these water off conditions, oh, there was another one. Oh my. In the mornings or just whenever, try to find places on the lake where there's a good amount of wind. I believe Dwayne and Tracy this morning were just fishing right up around the corner from our dock. They found just a teensiest bit of chop, and he said they didn't have to move more than that little quarter-mile stretch fishing the pink power worm under a float. Of fish jumping in this eddy right now. I'm gonna scoot back just a little farther. Sometimes when I fish this eddy, I find that out here on the seam and even kind of into the current a little bit, sometimes I get a few more bites than I do over there in the completely dead water. And these fish right now are jumping on that seam. Another thing to look for is those trash lines. Those trout will eat stuff out of those little leaf trash lines that pile up on the lake when the wind and the current are going the right direction together. Oh, come on. I thought I saw a fish surfacing just now, and it was just the very edge of this log sticking out of the water. See if I can get it back. Oh yeah. This little section we're fishing right now is always a good spot to stop and try. Oh, that was a good bump. Alright, there's some fish that want to play right here. I heard somebody the other day was using the white megaworms up there by the narrows with the water off and catching some fish. That is something that I really don't know what causes them to eat the megaworm or what causes them to eat it sometimes and not, but whenever it's working, it works great, and the water off is one of those times. Oh my gosh, that was 3 hits in a row. Alright, I cannot set the hook. Well, I'm getting so many bites here, I don't think it's worth moving out of this spot. There he is. I think we got a twin. That might even be the same fish. He's a little longer. I was going to show him to the camera, but he's a little feisty. So I'm not too sure about this spot with the water off. I'm sure it's still a spot where they hang out and you can catch them, but I know that whenever the current gets going, this eddy right here is just usually loaded with some fish. Oh, there's another one. Set the hook. Another good spot to fish a jig is right on the opposite bank here, on the south bank, in between these docks, actually going all the way down past the abandoned dock. There's some really good pockets along that bank, and I can usually catch a few fish drifting that bank and fishing it. This fly is biting the crud out of my ankles right now. Stop it. Setting spot locked out here in the current like this, casting into the eddy, you're gonna make a few more casts and do a little more work, but it's definitely worth it. Something big that I can say is that the 2-pound test is definitely mattering right now. 2 pounds, the 6X's, the 7X's. It's that time of the year again. And like the gentleman who caught that big rainbow off the dock the other day and got broke off by a few other ones, had switched from using a 4-pound leader to a 2-pound leader. And that was when he started hooking up with fish. So it was just a matter of the line. He was using the same bait. I'm gonna catch him first. So today they had scheduled for the water to be off until 3 o'clock, but they actually turned it on sometime around like 10, and he turned it on to, I think, a half unit first and then about 1 unit, and they ran that 1 unit for a little longer today. So that's kind of a interesting change up. Tracy Frenzel, after they fished down here, they went up to the trophy area when that 1 unit was running, and they dragged some scud and egg combos, and said that they were catching 3 or 4 really nice 16 to 19 inch rainbows each drift. And there is a brown trout. I don't know what he's chasing. He's jumped about 5 times now right below me. But I just got a really good look at him on that jump. Not a very big one, but he is absolutely getting after something. Just jumped again. Try casting down there to him. Sometimes you can take these jigs when you're setting in a spot like this and kind of cast them at farther angle downstream and just give them a little jerk bait motion back to the boat. Nothing on that cast. As this water slows down, I could probably switch to a 1/32 ounce jig in here. Oh, that was a hit. Well, I think this is the most bites I've had on a jig in quite a while. Where that trout was, right there in front of me. They are eating something directly out of that trash line that I was talking about. Makes me almost feel like I could just throw my jig right in there and just keep it right on the surface. I sure would like to know what causes those fish to get active and start going airborne like that sometimes. Go ahead and let the boat drift here. Fish a little bit lower on this eddy. This eddy actually goes pretty good distance before it evens out again. Definitely starting to get a good amount of drop. I think it's possible that they may have turned the water off completely now. Oh my gosh. That little brown that I'm talking about, he's about 15 or 16 inches, but he has come out of the water 10 or 12 times now. Those two fish I did catch, I wasn't really letting the jig sink very far. So I think I could probably switch. We'll just try it for a second. Switch to the 1/32 ounce. I've got basically the same thing, sculpin head. This one might be a sculpin and peach. I just want to swing that in there and see if that slower sinking action makes a difference on those fish that are jumping. I have a 2-pound line on this rod as well. It is really hard to fish a 1/32 ounce jig with anything else but 2-pound line. This would be another great spot right now to have one of those micro jigs underneath an indicator, or a pink power worm, or the PJ's finesse jig. Man, those fish are getting it. They're really ripping the surface. It's not like they're midging, but they're just coming way out of the water. I'd say the water has actually slowed down enough to push me back upstream already. We'll take a couple more casts and we're going to call it an episode here today. They were biting for me when that current was still running a little bit, but as soon as that current slowed down, they started jumping and stopped biting. Go back to the 16th here. Try throwing a cast completely upstream. try throwing completely upstream with too much of a current coming back at you, you're most likely going to wind up putting a bunch of loose wraps in your spool, and eventually it's going to get bird nested. But I think this water's running slow enough I can keep the tension. The other way to get a bigger jig to sink slower is to reel in the tension on your line. Keep it tight. That's going to cause that jig to fall slower without having to switch to a different size. And I think I'm going to make this my last cast here. Oh, he was coming for it. I can't stop on that now. Oh, man. So I am reeling in the tension on my line right now and getting that jig to sink a little slower. I'm only maybe working it 7 or 8 foot deep right now, and the water I'm setting over is probably 11 or 12. Okay, alright, I give up. Well, got a little bit of jig action today, but we thank you guys for watching. Like and share us on Facebook, and we'll get out here and do it for you again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.